It is continuing coverage of Ball State basketball here on BallStateSports.com and Ball State All Access. Joel Gaudette and one of the newest, or actually the newest, Ball State men's basketball assistant coach. It's Danny Peters. First off, welcome to Muncie.
Thank you. It's great to be here, being an Indiana native for a little part of my life. It's exciting to be back on this side of the country.
What is your familiarity? Obviously, you went to Ohio State, so not that far away, but with the Midwest.
I lived here most of my life as a prep playing at AAU or high school basketball. I remember going to Indiana team camp in high school at Lakota East, playing against Greg Oden and Mike Conley, actually in Assembly Hall. And then obviously playing in the Big Ten, being around this part. And then my dad made us live in Rensselaer, Indiana for 2 years. I loved it. It was all about ball all the time, 24/7, and being at St. Joe's, which is a small college there. So I'm familiar with the area a little bit, not as much as I would be with Ohio, but I am familiar with the area.
Let's talk about your background a little bit, and I guess let's work chronologically backwards. Most recently, you're at Arizona. Certainly there's your connection to James Whitford. Walk me through working with him and what it was like for the 3 years you guys were together out West.
Working with James, I really quickly realized how much of a good person he is. He genuinely cares about people and wants their well-being, and not just basketball. Players are not a means to an end, and that's not to say that's not for everybody in that program, but James in particular, that's his passion: player development and making sure kids are taken care of after basketball. And that's something that I believe in a lot. I love building relationships and getting to meet new people and using basketball to see the world and whatever it may be. And James is all about the same things.
What'd you learn at Arizona? Not just from James, but obviously Sean Miller gets a lot of respect in this business.
As a player, you don't really see the day-to-day aspects of recruiting and the organization that goes into it. You have an idea, but you don't really see it because you're not doing it. And what I learned more than anything in that program from Sean is how to do things in a first-class manner, and his obsession with organization. I really admire that about Sean. He has a plan for everything, and it may be something that may happen one time in 4 games, but he has a plan for it. So when it comes up, he's confident and he can convey the message to the team. There's no slippage in what he's doing. There's no disbelief. And in terms of recruiting, he's just relentless, and everyone on that staff was. It was persistent. It was in a good way, and he didn't wear anybody out. But people really knew how much he cared about them and how much he knew he could help them, and they always ran to play for him because of it.
You've got to be one of the younger assistant coaches in the country, but certainly you have the experience and you've been around it a lot, and you've seen it, and you've been part of what went on at Arizona, and now you get that chance to be a first-time kind of hands-on assistant coach. You ready for it?
I think so. Obviously, being a son of a coach, I've been around this probably more than what my resume would say. I remember growing up, some kids go in the back and play catch with their dad. We would shoot hoops, do skill, and then I'd help them watch film. So,
sounds great as an 8-year-old.
7th grade was a challenging year, and they went to the NCAA tournament. They had Kenyon Martin. He was at Cincinnati at the time, and I can remember watching film on St. Louis with him. Like, well, what do you think about this, Danny? And he'd prep me for a lot of this stuff. So even though I may be 27, 28, I'll be 28 in a week, I don't really look into it like that. I think if you're knowledgeable of the material, you care about people, and you want to help them in the right way, they'll listen. And it's just about how do you get your message across. It doesn't matter how old you are.
You've got a very similar background as far as getting into coaching as Coach Whitford, too, as far as the manager route. He never became a player. You got the lucky side of that as well. But what did you learn from seeing the game in the shoes you saw it while you were part of Thad Matta's program?
Well, I had opportunities to play college basketball, and I kind of felt burnout. So I didn't pursue them as I probably should have. And I went to Ohio State, and they talked about me walking on, and I just wasn't for it. I wanted to watch film and learn. And then I quickly realized that I ended up practicing almost every day and being in all these drills. And it's like, you're on the team, why aren't you? I mean, you're just not dressing, and you're just going and cutting up film or helping in workouts or doing something. So, he added me to the roster, and we ended up going to the Final Four that year. And by the time I left, I ended up being the all-time winningest player in the school's history. That record's been broken twice by now. But being there, you learned the power of using the resources that are available to you. That university has a lot of resources, and we use them to our fullest extent, whether it be helping with internships or meeting donors or whatever it may be. we use those, and I think I took that in terms of recruiting when I went to Arizona, and now here at Ball State, whether it be an internship with somebody that's an alumni with our program and can help a kid that's in business here, whatever it may be. That's what I took from Coach Mata a lot of.
Danny Peters joining us, the newest men's basketball assistant here at Ball State. Lastly, you've alluded to it as well. Growing up around the game, your dad, a coach, he's in this league right now with Keith Dambrot's staff at Akron. What's it like growing up as a coach's son? You mentioned a little bit about kind of going in the backyard and playing ball and doing skill and then watching film, but what did you learn from him? When did you know it was what you wanted to do, and how does that impact your life?
That's a good question. I would say that I figured it out very early that I would be a part of this. As any kid, I was hungry for my father's attention. And when he had to go to a gym or something, I knew that if I was going to be around him, you had to go to the gym with him. And if you wanted to stay in the gym or get him back to the gym, you needed to be pretty good at what you were doing. I figured that out quickly and wanted to be like him in a lot of different ways. And because of that, we spent so much time together, and we have a very unique relationship. He's a coach, hero, father, best friend. And then he prepared me for a lot of this. I don't think there goes a days go by that I don't call him 2 or 3 times and ask him questions about something here, like, well, what do you think about this, and how would you play that, or how do you go about talking to this person on campus? Give me some ideas. He's already wants to come over here and see what we have to offer, so he can kind of help me build it up or help James build it up. And that's something that's a very good benefit to have, I guess, from my perspective. Sometimes with coaches' sons, you wouldn't, you're kind of like, I want to get away from your dad, not stay in his shadow, but I really don't care. I'm going to embrace it as much as I can. He has a wealth of knowledge, and excited to get as much information from him as I can.
Danny, appreciate the time. Glad to have you here in Muncie, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
It's Danny Peters, the newest men's basketball assistant. We'll continue to introduce you to the staff. Brian Thornton joining us here on BallStateSports.com as well. In the meantime, this is Ball State All Access and BallStateSports.com.